the scheme was off. So you should avoid the get rich quick narrative. You need to look out for an idea that helps solve the needs of people around. It's not good enough to just want to solve a problem, but it's not meeting the needs of people. There is no crazy job out there. Okay? These are hacks, these are things you can do every time, and you are done. I remain Esther, your girl, and this is
Marcel, just a moment. I'm having a problem with my I'll tell you guys. I'm trying to.
I hope people know that I'm going on debate in the next 5 minutes. Okay, all right.
Good. I see this thing very well. My picture together now. I got my picture. But remove it. Go back to the. And then you're my right. Yes. Still around. Don't go. Hello?
Yes, I think are the moderators here now?
Yes, do we flag off? It's now 2 minutes past 7 o'clock. So it's for us to decide whether to flag off right now or not.
No, we're taking up, we're starting. Sorry, sorry everyone. I think we're starting a few minutes behind schedule, and we're sorry about that. We're trying to sort out the technical issues, and I can assure you that in the next 2 to 3 minutes, we're going to start. You're welcome. I think the key anchor is having issues with his connection over there, and that's the the issue now. So, guys, we apologize for the slight delay, and we're going to start in a few minutes.
I'm
please.
good. I'm good.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You're supposed to take off now. The program starts immediately. You ready?
Well, on behalf of Prime Media, I welcome you to this evening's engagement. Your Excellencies, your Lordships of the Judiciary, your Royal Highnesses, members of the clergy, distinguished senators and honorable members, women and youth leaders, party chieftains and leaders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As the moderator for this evening, I need to let you know the following 2 key points. Number 1, the objective of our conversation this evening is actually simply to elicit reassuring responses from our brothers who wish to become governor of Anambra State by the end of the elections scheduled for the 6th of November. This engagement is non-partisan. It is not intended to impugn anybody, and candidates are advised in their responses to the questions and exchanges that will follow to restrict themselves to comments, information and observations that will focus squarely on who they are, what they have to offer, why they think a number of people should vote for them, and nothing more. They are here to market themselves and their parties and their programs and nothing more. Now, having said that, please allow me to now introduce my co-host and our host for this event. My co-host is Ndoka Otiono. He's an associate professor of African Studies and English and a graduate program supervisor at the Institute of African Studies, Carleton University. He's a writer, author, and into this, a journalist in Nigeria, the General Secretary of the Association of Nigerian Authors, of the Nigerian chapter of UNESCO's Committee on Oral and of the board of the 100,000 national honors, which include the following: a Bantam Doctoral Fellowship, Capital Educators Award for Excellence in Teaching, Carleton University Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, Early Career Award Fellowship, and Black History of Tower Community Builder Award. He is also the principal West African of African Studies, CAAS. That is The very brief profile of who anchor for this event, who shall be assisting me as we proceed. The next, which is who is our host, is Dr. Marcel Ember, the editor-in-chief of Pride Business Africa, our host for this event. He has a doctoral degree in journalism from the University of Nigeria and Nsukka, so he's a lion. He is a versatile, Bloomberg-trained, Reuters-certified journalist with over 17 years of hands-on journalism experience after a stint in teaching and electronic media. He rose through the ranks as business correspondent for the Guardian newspapers, The Guardian on Sunday, later headed the business and news desks for approximately 4 years each. He was at some point the group news editor of the Guardian for another 6 years before he left to start New Type Publications Limited. Dr. Ember is a media researcher whose research articles have been published in internationally indexed journals. In fact, one of his latest research was focused on renewable energy communication issues, as well as the media and the COVID-19 pandemic, which is the most recent 2021. Of course, he also acquired certificates in business and economic reporting from the Pan-Atlantic University in Lagos and the Bloomberg Media Africa Initiative between 2008 and 16. These are the two gentlemen I wish to introduce, and having done that, I will now invite our host to make very brief comments, then we shall run a 1 or 2 minute video on today's engagement, and I'll proceed to reel out the rules of engagement for all participants. Dr. Ember, please.
Thank you very much, moderator, our chief moderator, chief anchor for today's event. I thank you for that introduction. I was almost to be sure the one being addressed that. So we all welcome. I thank everyone who has made our time to be here today. This event, as the moderator announced, is actually organized by Prime Business Africa, and the essence is to engender discourse around our polity, especially as it affects Anambra State. Anambra State is actually the heartbeat of the Southeast and has been in the eye of the storm following a spate of violence and other things that were happening. So the economy of the Southeast, to a large extent, would depend more or less on the economy of Anambra State. And this is the reason we consider it, even though we are a business economy focused newspaper, online newspaper, we decided to look at this to cater for the interest of the masses. It is not partisan. It is not induced by any political party or any candidate. Nobody has dropped a kobo or financial support for this. We are sponsoring it 100% from our own purse because we believe in a better society. We believe in good governance. We believe in a better governance for Anambra State. And we believe that after this debate, the choices will be clear for citizens, for voters from Anambra State. Once again, welcome, and I wish us a very good and cordial discourse around how to make things better, security-wise and economy-wise. We're enjoying each and every one of us to follow us on our social media handles, especially our YouTube, so that when we upload this event, you'll be able to download and then use accordingly. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator and the co-moderator, Professor Ntiono. I am very pleased to have us here. I want to assure us that there are hundreds and hundreds of people on Facebook as we speak now, because it's being streamed live, who are with us. So we are not just as we are here. We are at least about 500 people on this platform. And I think we'll still have to admit more people here going forward. Those on the webinar may not be seen here, but they are on the webinar room. So that this is a special room for the actual participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear host, and welcome once again. It is now time to welcome our candidates who shall speak to us. So far, we notice only a couple of them are in the hall, which in itself is commendable for those who are here, because if you're going to govern Anambra State, Part of what we will look out for is punctuality. Part of what the state people will expect is respect for their time and for them. And so I gladly and proudly commend the candidates who are here, and we shall take off. But on the list are the following, and we hope that they will join us. Chief Bennett, Chairman of the Action Alliance, who is here. Dr. Chido Mwankwo, Chief Akachukwu Mwankwo of ADC, Senator Andibo of APC, Professor Soludo of the APGA, Dr. Valentine Ozibo of the PDP, Obinos of STB, SDP, Ifanyo of YPP, and Obioro Okonkwo of the Senate Party. So we'll flag off immediately with the following rules of engagement. Let us kindly pay attention. Number one, each participant shall have a 5-minute opening statement. Everyone here will tell us who he is, and that's why we are not running through anybody's resume. This engagement is predicated on 3 major premises. Number one, every one of the candidates is a distinguished person in his own right, both professionally and in business or both, either professionally in business or both. They are stepping out because they believe they have something to offer. Obviously, they're also thinking of policies that will give us a better Anambra state. Each of them is capable of addressing non-stop for 3 hours. But being leaders who know how to manage and respect themselves, and who also already have in their heads what it is they want to do, shall start and talk to us for 5 minutes on who they are and why they want to be governor and what they hope to do. After that, each of the candidates shall answer 1 question arising from his introductory statement. In other words, as you speak, a question might occur to one or both of the moderators, but that will be the basis for the next question you'll be asked. Now, let us note, to avoid any suggestion or suspicion of partiality, that the names are arranged alphabetically using the political parties. So there's no question of who was put there first or not. Secondly, the moderator and co-anchor shall alternate in asking questions. So there are also no possibility that any of the moderators will have planned in ahead who to ask and what to ask. Thirdly, each candidate, after the first bout of questions, each candidate will now answer a question from a pool of 18 questions randomly numbered. So you just call number 1 or number 18 or number 12, you fish it out and read it out and you respond. Again, each candidate will take another question arising from the answers given to the randomly asked questions. Time permitting, and with the general agreement of the candidates, we shall take some questions, not comments, from the audience, provided such questions are not designed to impugn the integrity of any candidate. Number 7 of the rules, the 7th of the rule is that the candidates shall each use 1 minute to respond to the questions that they will be asked. Thereafter, after they've answered all the questions, each candidate shall give a 2-minute closing statement. With that, the moderator shall then invite the co-moderator for a 1-minute closing statement, and he will then, after that, give a 2-minute closing statement and bring the event to a close. Having said that, I'd like to know whether there is any of the candidates who has a question to ask, an issue to raise, or a matter on which he or she needs clarification regarding the rules of engagement. Can I assume, gentlemen, that the rules are clear and that we can now proceed?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I take that to be the general position that we can now continue, we can now go ahead. And so I'll begin by calling the names. If I call and the candidate is not on, he will hold on. So the first name, the first party here actually not even named, is Chief Bennett of AA. You have 5 minutes to address us and who you are, why you want to be governor of Anambra State, sir.
All right, good evening, panelists, good evening, audience. As I've been introduced, my name is Ben Etiaba. I'm from Nnewi in Anambra South Senatorial Zone. and I am the candidate of Action Alliance, AA, the party that came second in the last governorship election in Imo State. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor, it's a privilege to have to speak with you this evening, exactly a week to go. And let me start by saying this, that we have 7 days to save the southeast of Nigeria from political mess. We have 7 days, starting with Anambra State. Anambra is the light of the nation. I've been at this for the last 2.5 years. I offer myself to serve Anambra State. And I offer myself not because I'm the best out of the 18 candidates you will see in this election, but precisely because I believe I'm different. I believe I think differently. I believe that we need a new thinking to be able to deliver the Anambra of our dreams. Because if we carry on doing the same thing the same way, the result will be the same. And it doesn't make me happy to say this, but Anambra is broken. And indeed, Anambra is shattered. We need healing. I am a chartered accountant. I've been a fellow of my institute for over 20 years. I have led my professional body, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, in the United Kingdom. Indeed, till date, I remain most humbly the only chairman of the institute in UK that served ICANN for 2 terms. I'm delighted to say that I've also led the Newe citizens in the whole of United Kingdom, of Great Britain and Ireland, their first chairman. And I also, like in ICANN, received my 2nd term unopposed. And that meant that I fulfilled my campaign pledges whilst in office. It is very important that if anybody makes pledges while they are running for office, they fulfill those pledges. I've won 5 elections, like I said. I've lost no election till date, and I've always served a 2nd term unopposed, precisely because I've always fulfilled my campaign pledges. So what is important tonight is not what I'll be saying to you that I will do for Anambra State, but what I have done in the past, in all the offices I've held, to make you believe that I'll live up to my pledges to you tonight. I offer myself to serve, not to rule. Anambra needs an altruistic leader next, a servant leader in the mode of Dr. Emma Obara. Before leaving the United Kingdom, after 25-year sojourn, 14 years ago, I've been back 14 years living in the Southeast. I led the umbrella group of all Nigerian professionals in the UK when Obasanjo was president of Nigeria and set up the London group. An election was called and I won that election to lead all Nigerian professionals in the UK. That was my last leadership role before I came back to Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have led a number of groups in Nigeria, including the much revered Enugu Sports Club 1929. And our moderator, Dr. K. Once came to address us. I think I told me that I set up to address the issues with the Igbo nation. It has always been my vision to do well and to do better for our people, to change the narrative. I've done it at Enugu Sports Club. I've done it everywhere I've been. I offer myself to serve Anambra State, believing that I have the capacity to take Anambra out of darkness and into light. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Like I said at the beginning, we have candidates who have very strong record behind their names, very good history behind their names, and it's in the interest of Anambra State to screen them properly and choose well from amongst them. And put it on record, he had 5 minutes. He's taken about 4. So what he had to say was in his head. That very quickly, we then move on to the next candidate, who is Chido Nwankwo of AAC. Oh, sorry, no.
That's right.
Yes, please, what's your name? Sorry, yeah, go on.
Yes, my name is Dr. Chidozie Nwankwo. I hail from Oko in Orumba North local government. And I'm offering myself to salvage Anambra State. Anambra State is a peculiar state that has contributed so much to the growth of Nigeria. Anambra State, the history of development of Nigeria as a nation can never be, complete without Anambra entrepreneurs. And I'm an entrepreneur for 35 years. And that is 35 years of very productive.
You seem to have a challenge with your network. Can you all hear me? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, so it's the candidate that has a problem with his network. We'll allow him because it's time. He has 5 minutes. If he's able to re-engage within that time, that's all right. If it isn't, then we must move to the next candidate because part of what needs to happen is a preparedness for an engagement, of course, with unpredictable services from network providers. So we hold on for Dr. Wampo. It's
Yeah,
yes.
like I said, I've spent 35 years of my life in different spheres of business. And I'm very proud to say that I have owned business in 7 countries of the world. If you look at Anambra State today, 85% of Anambrans are from business community. And in this segment of the state, I consider myself a leader in the business world. Currently, we're employing over 5,000 Nigerians today in our 5 factories. So I felt that the issue of Anambra State and management of our resources and managing resources to manage our resources, and that's why I'm offering myself. Having business and manage so many entities actually in the global economy has positioned so many companies to become companies that has actually laid a significant mark in each phase of engagement. So today, looking at Anambra State, what the major issue we are suffering is incompetence in managing resources. And the
there's an audio problem again.
Yes, it is. But like I said,
governors have had if you look at all the governors that had managed them that actually has been a business man like myself. So in the business world, about taking the right decisions, understanding how to manage people, knowing who to hire, knowing who to the strategies to employ to be able to change the narrative in whatever sphere. For example,
you have 30 more seconds, sir.
I've given incompetent companies to manage our roads. And the unfortunate thing is that the people that had built the roads that has all given away are the same people that has awarded the same contract of the new roads. So I'm going to offer to Anambra State, I'm going to manage Anambra State as a business entity. Today in Nigeria, Anambrans are number one in entrepreneurship. And that is why I consider myself the most qualified.
Thank you very much, sir. Your time is up now. I'm
going to manage Anambra as a business entity.
Very quickly, please.
Today, if you look at...
Hello. Thank you. If you look at... Marcel, can somebody mute him? Thank you very much, sir.
What happened is where Dr. Ikechukwu, are you there?
I don't know what has happened here.
So it appears that we have lost Dr.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, he's back.
Yes, I don't know what happened. My system just went off. So, but we'll go on to the next candidate, who is, sorry. Yes, the next candidate is Senator Andy, sorry. No, Chipaka Chukwumamko of the ADC. Yes, please. Can you comment on that? Yes.
Is he here?
Yes, if he is not, can we quickly then take the next, who is Senator Andy Oba? Hello. If Senator Oba is not here, the next candidate is the APGA candidate, Professor Chukwuma Soludo. Is he with us? Welcome on board, and yes, kindly address us for 5 minutes.
Yeah, let me sincerely apologize. I actually left off our national convention of the PDP in Abuja, and flew to Asaba. I've just landed. I'm in a vehicle trying to find my way to where I can safely make this call. So I actually was calling to apologize that I may not be joining, but because of how important this is, because I always love every opportunity to interact with our people and pass my message across, I am having to make this call in not a very comfortable way, but let's still go ahead. So thank you for having me. And I'm going straight to your question, why I think I am best suited for governorship of Anambra State. It takes me back to, if you really want to always solve any problem, we need to figure out what the problem is. And if you wish to take on a role of a governor of Anambra State, there's need for us to understand what are the skill sets required, what the level of competence and capacity required. So this is why I would emphasize something very critical, which is the need for us to ensure we have the right person from the right party.
Hello. Hello.
The right process.
It must be that you are in a moving vehicle. That's what can
also
lead
making
to
the
this
right
kind
commitment. I hope you can hear me. Hello?
Yes, it is fluctuating. I guess you're in a moving vehicle.
It's breaking.
Yes, I am. And unfortunately, I'm making this Zoom meeting with a phone, and so whenever a call would come in, I would have a problem. So even though
Okay.
yeah. So please let me go ahead. So
Yes, please.
my focus here is on the need to have someone with the right content of character, somebody who has got the right skill set, capacity, exposure, knowledge of Anambra, and somebody who is also coming from the right party, somebody who has emerged through in the right way, and somebody who has the right commitments for the Anambra. And I believe when you bring these four things together, it becomes clearer as to who has the best opportunity to lead and lead well. For me, coming from my background, growing up in the village and growing up from Omoma to Amesi, being a child of a headmaster, having the right discipline and fear of God, I started pursuits of our life pursuit in a manner that will endear me not just to critical values that are important. For instance, self-control, pursuit of and the needs made me excel in everything I've ever done, from school days to corporate life, and also philanthropy and even religious activities. And so in terms of concept of character, I believe I'm well suited for it. I've indeed excelled in the corporate life, and I don't want to bug everybody. I think my profile is out there for everybody to see. Talking about party, I always will emphasize party is critical to consider because we in what give us that enablement. And I feel that among the major parties contending for this, PDP is indeed the most acceptable to Ndibo today, and also from the Anambra. So it's and this is also the only party that can honestly take us to where we're going to. It's the only party that can enable us to produce an Igbo president. It's the only party that can help us unify Ndibo together, because that's the only party that's really present in the entire 5 eastern states, and in fact dominating in those 5 eastern states. And that taking is also important that somebody emerges in the right way, in a true, free, and fair, transparent process, and that will make it indeed appear like there is a hand of God in what is going on, not those who would go through a stolen mandate. And when that is done, clearly, you infuriate everybody, you tear the party apart, which is what is happening to APC and ABGA. And then who has the right commitment? For me, I have shared my manifesto, what we need to do for the Anambra, how we need to touch life, and the things that are important, from security to roads, to infrastructure, to power, to water, to education, health, and making sure Anambra becomes more competitive. So there's a number of things we've defined now show that indeed I am the right person in the right party, emerged through the right process, and has got the right commitment from the Anambra. Thank you so much.
Please unmute yourself. Coordinator, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Unmute yourself. Yes, better.
Is it audible now? Hello?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, you are. We can hear you now.
The last speaker, Dr. Zbo, for engaging despite his tight schedule. These are some of the things we look out for. Do you have enough respect for those you want to vote for you to know that you must answer when they call and you engage from a vehicle while you're in the mode? So thank you very much for your own contribution. Moving quickly because we need to save all the time we can. Round of this program. Sorry, oh dear. Otiono, can you call out the next candidate? You notice I had a small technical challenge, so I'm trying to resolve it quickly.
Okay, so we have, you have called.
Following the same alphabetical order, yes.
Yes, so we have Dr. Obin Nauz of the SDP.
Oh, yes, Obin, yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, the Social Democratic Party.
Mm. So he has 5 minutes also to address us on who he is, why he wants to be governor, what he hopes to achieve in that enterprise. Dr. Obin knows of 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, the organizers, the moderator. Let me stand on existing protocols. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Uzo. I am a lawyer, an administrator, an entrepreneur, a farmer, a philanthropist, a politician. I am happily married to a lawyer, Barrister Henrietta Uzo, with children, lovely children. And I am happy to be here to discuss, dialogue, and chart a way forward for us, their states, Anambra State. Like I said, I've been a teacher. From teaching, I went into business, went through the tutelage of business and became a businessman, and started in 1987 a Goku's group, Goku's, and then through the years, it's gone to Goku's Oils, Goku's Engineering, Goku's Construction, Goku's Farms, Goku's Chambers. We're into a whole lot of things. And we are privileged to have made it, having so many people working for the company, Goku's Group. Like I said, I have so many fellows, so many recognitions, awards. I am a Papa Knight, Knight of St. Gregory the Great. That's the highest honor the Pope can give to any Christian, anybody in the world. And I am privileged to have that honor for some years running. And we have been in politics. I ran for governor of Anambra State in year 2003. I am running now on the platform of Social Democratic Party. The logo is the white horse. If you remember, that was the party that Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezefe used in winning and becoming governor of Anambra State. So it's a great party. In the recently released list by INEC, for those who are participating in this election, if you look through the polling agents, you see that only 4 political parties scale through. There are 5,720 polling units in Anambra State, and it's only 4 political parties, including Social Democratic Party, that were able to fill all vacancies. That shows the spread of Social Democratic Party. So we are known to assist our people. Like I said, philanthropy is is in my DNA. I like to help people. We build schools, Obinozo Law Faculty, Amadona University of Okija. We build hostels, Holy Family, youth hostels, and many others. We have built houses for the less privileged, constructed roads, given transformers and put up electricity for communities, boreholes, built churches across denominations. We've assisted a lot of people through scholarships. We have done a lot of philanthropy. I have my manifesto and a blueprint for details of all that we've done for our great people in Anambra State. We've assisted a lot of young people to establish small, medium, scale enterprises. We have done a lot of things for less privileged people, and we are in this to do more for our people. We are not, the major reason why we are in politics is to ensure that our people have the best of life. We are secured, and when you're secured, you're happy, you're united as a team, you prosper. We intend to partner with great Anambrarians to develop our people, to put in the proper infrastructures. To put in the proper infrastructures and to ensure that our state, which is the hub of Southeast, the hub of Igbo land, and a great business state for a great number of people, business, academics, whatever you look for globally, you find in our great state, Anambra State. So we are here to ensure that our state remains a great state that it is, and we have the faith, the belief that our people will come put in a good man, a great man, a good person. Thank you
very much. Very much. Sorry, there's a slight error in the sequence of the presentations. 8 p.m. was actually supposed to come much earlier. It's a sleep. I apologize, Dr. Job Nyejebu.
Thank
it's
you.
Not deliberate. Kindly bear with us. It's not, please. I will call you up now to give us your 5 minutes telling us who you are, why you want to become governor of Anambra State, and what the people of Anambra State should expect from your tenure as governor. You're on the board, sir.
Thank you very much, Doc. Colonel Architect Jeff, after 32 years meritorious service. I am born at a small town called Ichi. It is in Ekusigo local government area of Anambra South Senatorial Zone. I attended all the early school being tutored by my late mother, who was a teacher at the time. And I did go to Defense Academy as a member of Regular Combatant Course 22. After my commission in the Nigerian Army, I went to University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, where I read first degree and master's in architecture. I moved on to ABU and University of Ibadan. Indeed, I attended the 3 premier universities we have in this country. From there, I moved on to get my PhD from the University of Phoenix in Arizona. I served in the Army for 32 years, commanding a brigade in Mokola, Ibadan. I was acting GOC of 2 divisions in Odobo. I also was the military attaché of this country in Washington, D.C., with a Wednesday briefing office in Pentagon. Why am I in distress? I'm in distress because I think I am endowed with unique skill sets. And I'm looking at Anambra as having to hire an employee in the position of the governor of the state, an employee that has all that it takes in leadership. Leadership is not complete if you don't have the components of technocrat, diplomat, security, intelligence. I was also a trader. I was dealing with spare parts. That is senior brother to Innocent, was importing and supplying my shop at Idumota. When my funds got up to some reasonable level, I moved to Alaba, where I started importing electronics in containers. My contemporaries in Alaba was Cornelius Etokudo, known as Iske God from Abatete, then Sahin, Dennis Okafor from Ojoto, Obiore Mone from Oba. Why I am bringing out all these skill sets is because we are looking at somebody who is to be employed, who has all that is required and extra. That is how you get employed in any job quest. I am also an entrepreneur. I own KB International Academy. So these are things that are required in Anambra State. Anambra State, from its present state to the next level. In fact, for Anambra to become really an estate, I looked at the GDP chart. I am finding Anambra with $6.1 million, 16th position. I said, this cannot be correct. It's either that the statistics, the numbers are telling us lies.
You have 1 more minute, sir.
Or that we're not getting the right things done. I think that because of this unique skill set that I have, I am the best man for this job at this time. You cannot give what you don't have. Nemo that who have it, as said in Latin by the lawyers. If you don't have security experience, you can't manufacture it. These things are not in our way, nor are they in for anybody to buy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed for your response and for also keeping within the time. We'll now call upon the next candidate, who is the candidate of
YPP, that's
on your back.
Yeah,
Who is
that's right.
sending a text here that he has a problem with the link, so I'm trying to quickly respond to him to resolve that. That means he's around trying to get on board. Can I quickly send it to him? And I then say that while they deal with that, let's see whether there's another candidate after him so that we don't lose too much time. Is one over here?
Yes, I got one.
He's waiting for the link. Sorry? Aha, okay. So, welcome, sir. And of course, you know the business of the day. Your colleagues have spoken, and you have 5 minutes to tell us who you are, why you want to be governor of Anambra State, and what the people you wish to govern should expect from you as well. I can see that, but Yes, comes before. Oh, sorry, the party, isn't it? Which party comes first?
Sorry?
Since you're already on, please go on so that we
Go ahead.
after you
Go ahead.
No, I am an independent participant.
He's not a candidate.
Oh, okay. So I think there's a mix up in the name.
There's a mix up, please. Let's woman go, please. You have the floor.
No, he's not,
He's not that
a candidate. He's not a candidate. He's not a candidate himself.
Yes, and I call the candidate to that woman. He's in the house. Hello.
Maybe we lost him.
He has gone.
Yeah, he has just dropped off now. Okay, let's then have the next candidate speakers here. Because the link is sent to is waiting for the link.
Senator Oba is here. Is in the house. Yes, my great.
Okay, so let him come on. YPP. Is it another Oba?
We should move on and then we can get back.
Yeah, let's just try to yes.
Give him a phone call.
Yes, please, so that we don't keep our colleagues and candidates who have respectfully gotten involved with all of this waiting for too long.
I think Akachukwu Okonkwo is back.
Okonkwo is not a candidate.
I'm just wondering. Okay, so he's been
Mambo is a candidate and he was on, but he's gone off now. It's for us to try and reach Chief for now.
So thank you. I will suggest that we move on, and then if we connect with Chief Umba, then we can have him.
Yes, so kindly call up the next candidate, please.
Based on the list that I have here, we have Dr. Obiora Okonkwo.
Okay, who is not around? Okay. Well, then that brings us, but I plead with the House, would we agree that if any of the candidates come in, we should still allow him to speak without waiting for them?
Yeah.
I need a consensus on that. Like we said in the rules of engagement, this entire exercise is objective with no partisanship and no loyalty to any candidate other than the business of presenting the candidates to the people they wish to vote for them. On that note, I suggest then we move on to the next round, which is based on the rules of engagement that for each of those who have spoken, the two moderators will ask them questions arising from their comments. So I'll speak to the first, I'll ask the first speaker, the co-moderator will ask the second speaker, and we'll take it for all those who have spoken. The first speaker was Chief. He told us, he gave us his background and harped on the fact that in all his years in public service and in his own profession, he's always distinguished himself. He has never failed in any attempt to be re-elected, which is, in his view, proof of capacity. The question for me to him is this: do you see any direct congruence between the environments in which you've worked before, which are largely professional and organized, and what can be described as a chaotic environment of politics, especially Anambra politics? And how do you hope to navigate that as governor come next year?
Okay, thank you very much. How much time do I have to answer this?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay, thank you so much. There isn't actually much of a lack of congruence between the two platforms or spheres. We try to make politics chaotic so that we can get away with the madness we are inflicting on our people. If you are serious-minded and you want to bring that to bear in governance, in leadership, as it is in advanced climes of the world, you can get these things to work. I don't accept the fact that because we're blacks, we cannot do things right. We have had a president in America who is black, and he did so well. You can organize politics enough by having sensible people around you and working with them and delivering with every seriousness. Ronald Reagan indeed said that the best leader is not the one that does the greatest things, but the one that gets others to do the greatest things. It's never going to be about Ben Etiaba. I'm going to get serious minds around me, if I'm lucky enough to be elected governor, to change the narrative in Anambra State and to begin to move away from that madness and to begin to do things rightly. It wasn't just too long ago that we had a governor who was serious-minded, and the result was quite clear. A governor who was selfless, who was altruistic. Yes, he wasn't perfect, but we saw the result. That's what I intend to bring to bear. We have Governor Chris Ngige. He was governor in a chaotic system. When his party was against him, he had a great 3 years in office, and he delivered for the people. That's what I intend to do. I don't agree that it's just a madhouse. We cannot allow the lunatics to take over the asylum, not under my watch. Thank you, okay?
Thank you very much. Dr. Etiano?
So we...
No, yeah, I'm referring to the co.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
yes,
I imagine that the next person here is Dr. Chido Nwankwo, right?
Exactly.
Because the names yes.
They didn't come in the sequence, but
that's why I'm a bit confused.
Yeah.
So Dr. Chido Nwankwo, would like to ask a question that has to do with the issue of you know, from the business angle, you know. So if I ask what's the successive administrators have promoted the philosophy of Akurulo, which I think many of us are familiar with, you know, as a way of attracting investment in the economy of the state. Will you translate this philosophy?
What?
Sorry, can you hear me? How will you translate this philosophy in your development of Anambra State?
Please mute everyone else.
So somebody should mute him, please.
Thank you.
So yes, did you get my question? Dr. Chido Nwankwo, did you get the question? Is he still in the house? Oh, he's frozen.
He apparently really has a serious network challenge.
Yeah, so do you want to...
We'll move on to the next candidate.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay, please repeat your question.
Okay, so I said, you know, that based on the insights that you have given, you know, based on your profile, I will take you up on the business angle. And my question is pretty much has to do with how you will navigate this business question, which is that successive administrators and administrations in Anambra State have promoted the philosophy of Akurulo as a way of attracting investment in the economy of the state.
Okay.
How will you translate this philosophy in your development plans for Anambra State, given, you know, your very impressive profile?
Okay, very good. Just like I said, in 35 years of engaging in different business segments, if you look at my party, AAC, the motto of my party is putting the people first.
Mm-hmm.
How can we put the people first? You see, the issue that we have is that we have allowed people who hasn't got what it takes to run the state affairs for many years. For example, if you look at over 35 years, Ekweme built a mini port in River Niger. And this port ought to be, you know, ought to be like a catalyst that would change the business community in this side of the country. if you look at River Thames in London, you see feeder vessels moving every 10, 20 minutes, conveying containers. We ought to have gotten this port operational in over 30 years. And one of my ventures globally, I had been involved in a global shipping service. And
thank you, sir, but your time is up, sir.
So what I'm trying to say is
that you get a chance to speak again later.
Okay. What I'm saying,
yes, sir. No, you will still get a chance and even answer questions and also take your closing statement. So by the time I locked it is up, so we'll take the next candidate, who is Valentino Ozibo of the PDP. I hope he's still in the house. He told us.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Okay, he told us what he would like to do when elected, if elected governor. The question from me to him is threefold. As governor, what will you do about security, education, and transportation in Anambra State? Bearing in mind that you're coming from a very organized background into an environment that's not entirely governed by rules. By that I mean politics, not the state. How do you hope to navigate this? What looks like two separate worlds in order to bring about the
Thank you so very much. Incidentally, I was asked this question when I
have
started,
2 minutes.
Especially running for election in a party as big as PDP with 15 other aspirants. Actually, we were up more than 21. Eventually, we ended up being 16. And among us, we had people you could consider gladiators in politics.
Hello? Looks like we've lost him. If we have to move on.
Yeah, greetings. Doctor, can I speak?
We'll come to that, sir.
All right, sir.
We're still okay, we read out the rules of engagement. The candidates will speak, they will take questions, then they will move on to answer random questions, and they will call for comments from participants. So certainly you will speak, but after they've taken their own complete round of the engagement and questions.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think we can now move on to the next phase. In the rules of engagement, the expectation was that each candidate would just take one question. But given the number of candidates,
thank you very much. I would like to question based on the credentials that you have provided. You show your security background, and security is one of the major challenges plaguing Anambra State. So I would like to ask, what template do you have for tackling the growing insecurity in Anambra State if elected governor?
I have been the chief messenger of the mantra of using two approaches, the kinetic and non-kinetic approaches, to address the issues of insecurity in Anambra. Of course, on kinetic, that we know, boots on ground. Now, but I would dwell more on non-kinetic approaches. First, we all know that the main issue of insecurity is not hunger, because Anambra is not the poorest state. Indeed, it's the least poor state in Nigeria by the statistics given by SBS. Now, what then is the problem? The problem lies on the issue of marginalization. Marginalization that is an ideology that had gotten into our people, and then it is great that it exists. Because if you look at take a look at all the head shapes of the departments and agencies of the federal government, you will discover that most of those headships, you don't get Anambra people appointed to them. I can tell you that if we have a fair share of that, we will be able to at least deal with the issue of perception that we are not part of the scheme.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. So we now move on to the next phase, which is random questions. Like we said at the beginning.
I'm back now.
The remaining Dr. Binnaus are not.
Wow. How do we get it?
So we have to decide on either taking Dr. Zibo to complete, because of the technical problem he has had, or we take on Mr. Chifobin to speak. So I would say we can give Dr. Zibo, 1 minute.
Yes, 1 more minute.
Yes, just 1 more, and then we'll move on.
Before we go to yes, please.
Yes. So over to you, Dr. Zibo. You have 1 minute to complete the presentation you were making before the interruption. Are you there?
Last one again. So we'll move to the point. Yeah. He's in transit. Okay, hello? I am to. Yes. Okay. So
Dr. Obin also.
Yes. Yes. He.
We have to ask the question.
You spoke about your background in business and the support you have for churches across the denominations. And I think you also mentioned the foundation. In your view, what is really the impact of all your activities over the years, particularly your investment in religious buildings? Can you link that with any change in the morality of the state or young people around the state? In other words, is it just about buildings or impact on the lives of the people as Christians or whatever religions that got the buildings erected for them?
Thank you. What we've done in Binoza Foundation, we've done a lot. And everything we've done is for the good of humanity. If we put up churches, if we put up build school hostels and others for the growth and betterment of and the Anambra. The buildings we erected, we've also participated in the training of priests, of pastors, of reverends, of also the laity, the people who are not reverends or pastors and all that. And we've assisted in a whole lot of things, also assisting some people to go on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. This is all to assist people in getting the right morals, in getting the right credentials, in getting the right perspectives to life. And I used to encourage everybody, you have to work, also pray. So in all that we do in the religious world or in any of our philanthropy is always to affect the lives of the Anambra in all spheres, particularly in morals, in orientation, in the growth of their lives as it is. You pray, you work hard. And that's always been our philosophy.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the next phase, which is the random questions. And I'll invite my co-hosts. Each candidate will choose a question by calling out a number between 1 and 18. I want number so and so. So he'll take us through that. Any number you call, the question will be read out to you and you'll answer it in 2 minutes. When we've all gone round, then the next round, I will be the one calling out the questions, asking the candidates to choose, and then there'll be a third round, which he will conduct. So, Prof, over to you. So the candidates are to now each choose questions between 1 and 18, and you read out to them.
Then we're following the same order of the...
Yes, of the presentation, yes.
So in that case, I would ask Chief Ben to take any number from 1 to 18.
Thank you very much. It will be my privilege to take the first question, number 1.
Okay, that's a very interesting coincidence. That's number 1 had earlier week, and then I think it's so central to the people of Anambra, which is the idea that you know, what would be the policies and what ways would you?
The draft questions, you have a copy, don't you?
Yes, I do. The first, this one is on investments. You don't have it there?
That's what I'm saying. The one I could own, right?
That's correct. So what are the coincidence I said, you know, because I had asked Dr. Chido that early on. Okay. So I said it was a coincidence that I had chosen number 1 because it's a question that is so central to the business of Anambra and the politics of Anambra. Yeah. So I am repeating that question for him. The number 1 question is: successive administrations have promoted the philosophy of rule as a way of attracting investment in the economy of the state. How will you translate this philosophy in your development plans for Anambra State?
Thank you so much. I'm not sure how much time we have.
Yes, let's we say 3 minutes for this round. Dr. Ike. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anambra State, I think we have more billionaires. And if you go take Nigeria, for instance, and go to Lagos, most of the major developments in Lagos done by Indigo are actually done by Anambra. If you go to Abuja, the same thing. And of course, let's not even talk about Port Harcourt and River State. We all what happened after the Civil War with abandoned properties, the people that lost the life of the nation, but we don't actually. But I feel so bad the number of billionaires we have, and you begin to wonder, is this really the Anambra we're talking about? So what do you do? Which is the question. Be the first governor, because it has not happened before. If it has happened, to bring together the business elite of Anambra, to find out what their needs are, to create the enabling environment for them to think home and invest home. That is the first thing. Until we do that, we're not talking. These guys want to come home, and we're talking about security. The place is not safe. Nobody will invest at home. So you fix security first. You call a business summit because you don't know it all. Let them tell you their needs and ensure that given the worldview that Ben Etiaba has, the strong will that I have to implement policies that are right for my people, that I'm able to provide that enabling environment for them to come back and invest home. It's not just in Anambra in Nigeria. What about Anambra in diaspora? We have a lot of billionaires in the US, a lot of them in Europe. Again, do the same thing. Our people are not looking for handouts. They don't even need much from you. All they need is a governor and a government that will not bother them, but that will create that environment for them to come and give what they already have. And that's what I intend to do, create that environment for them to thrive. Thank you. And we'll do so many things like tax breaks, you know, make sure land is available for them, and make sure we map out industrial hubs, okay, in the 3 territorial zones, because you have to create the place that they can. I'm from Nnewi. You know, Nnewi has a lot of industries, and we are the greatest employers of labor when it comes to the private sector. And it is not government that will provide the jobs we need for the private sector, but that environment, the infrastructure must be right for the private sector to thrive. Thank you. I'm done.
Yes, Dr. Ikechukwu is done. So you're going to take the next question.
No, I said you run them through this set.
Oh, okay. So
that's why I now run them. That way
all right. So I was getting that.
So please let them hear you.
Okay, that's fine. So I will not call on the second person listed on a document, which is Chief Chido Nwankwo. And Chief Chido Nwankwo, I would invite you at this point to choose any question from number 1 to 18. And then I would ask that question. So just go ahead and choose any number. Can you hear me? We can't hear you, so please unmute yourself. Or unmute yourself.
Hello? Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Okay, I don't have the questions.
No, just choose any number. You don't have to know the question. That's actually the point.
Okay,
maybe any number.
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay, I'll give you question 4 right now. So the number 4 question here is, how will you maximize the potentials of the viable economic zones of Anambra State based on their commercial, agricultural, and industrial output? I'll take that again if you didn't quite get it. So the question is, if elected governor, how will you maximize the potentials of the viable economic zones of Anambra State based on their commercial, agricultural, and industrial output?
Okay, this question actually suits my background very well. I have built 5 factories. I own the biggest industrial park in Ogun State, and you cannot give what you don't have. So I will make sure that these areas that I mentioned are things that I have done in private sector, and I've done so well in them. And for anybody to excel in private sector, you must have the knowledge, what it takes to manage entities. And so I'm going to establish, and good enough, we have gas in the Anambra Basin. We have 11 oil wells. I run an oil and gas company called Ian Wilson Services for the last 10 years. My company had been working in Bonga fields. We pay Shell, SNEPCO salaries for the last 5 years. So in the oil and gas sector, the 11 oil blocks that we have in River Basin, I'll be able to approach the federal government to be able to get the right companies to develop them so that Anambra State can be part of the oil revenue, which we are not currently not getting. So and then the gas there, we're going to use it to run our industrial park, just like my own industrial park in Ogun State has a gas turbine. A lot of foreign companies are there working. So these are the things I've done in the private sector that I can also replicate in Anambra State too, because one of the things that is issue today is unemployment. So by bringing this, also in agriculture, last 3 years I signed with one of the biggest nations in one of the Asian countries, a joint venture, and they're willing to bring in over 3,000 workers to Nigeria. And we're able to we got 1,000 hectares of land in Delta, and because Anambra government couldn't give us the kind of land we are looking for, but we couldn't take off because the villagers, refused to allow us into this land because of the conflict that they currently have with the states in Delta. So as a governor, these are the areas that I've already actually proven, because you cannot give what you don't have. So I'm going to develop our gas, build industrial parks, which I own the biggest in Ogun State. I'm going to create so much job and then make sure that our oil reserves are developed so that we can be part of the revenue from the oil, the oils that God has given us, but because of maybe our leaders, currently we're not able to develop these facilities.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
so because I've been in this private, in my business life, I've been in oil and gas, I've been in industry.
You have.
I have the knowledge to be able to develop this in Anambra State to make sure that our incomes, are not depending on what federal government gives us.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And then I think if Dr. Valentine Zibo is still if he's still around, is Dr. Zibo there of PDP? Okay, it doesn't look like we still have him connected. I would ask Dr. Obinna of the
yes, hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Alexander Ozibo is here now.
Okay, yes, sure. So Dr.
So you
Ozibo,
should pick a question, yes.
Dr. Ozibo, would you pick a question from 1 to 18?
Okay,
Minus
before
question 1 and 4.
Before
minus question,
picking
sorry,
the,
excuse me. Minus
question.
questions 1 and 4.
Yeah, before going there, you recall you were asking earlier how the fact that
Sorry,
I'm
sir.
coming from
Sorry,
an
sir.
organized
Sorry,
private.
excuse me, Dr. Ozibo. If you
Yes.
follow this route, you're going to lose your time for this question.
Okay, just any number 6 is fine.
And then you can take 30 seconds of your time to finish off that first.
Hello?
And then, did you hear what I was saying? I said you'll be free to use about 30 seconds or whatever time from the 3 minutes to finish off what you were saying and then address the current question. So if you would choose from numbers 1 to 18 minus questions 1 and 4, then I would ask you the question on the number that you choose.
Okay, number 6.
Number 6. Okay, so number 6 is, do you think that the idea of a River Niger deep sea port is feasible?
Hello?
Considering the zones, and the proximity of Enugu and Owerri airports. I'll take that again. Do you think that the idea of a River Niger deep sea port is feasible and advisable, considering the activities of Niger Delta militants and the proximity of Enugu and Owerri airports?
If you don't mind, can you repeat that again? The last part of it is breaking. Considering that I stopped hearing you.
Considering the activities, that's like the dangers of security, and then the proximity of Enugu and Owerri airports, which provide alternative ways of transportation. Hello?
I'm so sorry. Do you mind repeating that question again? It's still breaking.
Okay.
Bad network, yeah.
So I would just keep it there. Do you think that the idea of a River Niger deep sea... I'm taking the question again.
Go ahead and repeat again, please.
Okay, so do you think that the idea of a River Niger deep sea port is feasible and advisable, considering the security challenges in the state, as well as the opportunities provided for shipments by the Enugu and Owerri airports? Hello?
I think
the fact that transit is presenting a major problem.
Niger project.
Yes, I think it's back.
Hello, sorry, considering what? That's the part
I said considering the security challenges. Considering the security challenges of operating the seaport, as has been the example, say, of the Niger Delta area, and then also the commercial opportunities provided by the proximity of Enugu and Owerri airport. Do you think that the River Niger deep sea port is feasible and advisable? Because this has been one focal point, that Ndi say, especially Anambra people, about bolstering business in the state.
Still, I struggle to get the last part, but let me
let me
go on. Given
it's better you say, it's better you admit that you have a question, so it won't be unfair to you. Coming from the Niger Delta, you could be attacked if you're carrying a ship to drop in Onitsha. Between Onitsha and Enugu and Owerri, the distance is not much. So do you think a port in Onitsha is advisable and feasible?
Quite frankly, it is worth investigating. I had a long discussion with a number of key stakeholders in this area. The person in charge of the Infrastructure Regulatory Commission, person in charge of Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and also the president of Afrexim, both of all of Igbo descent. talking about how we need to bolster the economy of the Southeast. And we were quite open-minded as to which of the ports, any of the other ones in the surrounding environment. And the idea was to validate the feasibility that had been done months and years ago. And in fact, I recall that one of them mentioned to me that former Governor Ihedio had also done something in that regard. My own point of view is this: the closer the ports, the better for us. We considered on the port, and we thought being a seasonal port may actually make it not as competitive as near or other ports that may be nearby. And so the point here is we can actually go on with that feasibility. Security challenge will always be there. It's for us to figure out measures to contend. It won't be a reason for us not to embark on something as significant like that. The reason why Lagos is Lagos is because of the ports, and Anambra can fundamentally skyrocket in development when we have the port.
Okay. So thank you for that response. We have just one more person to go.
And then
yeah, so we're going to invite Obi Nauzo to choose a question for numbers. Hello, Dr. Zibo, I think you're continuing to break, so we don't know when you ended speaking and when you're still on. Are you still there?
Okay, I thought you had moved on because I had other names.
Yes, you know, because
I didn't know.
I thought you had finished speaking. Do you want to take 30 seconds to wrap up?
Yeah, so the point here is I would do everything that is possible to ensure that we do develop our ports nearby or invest in ports outside of Anambra, but closer to the shores of Anambra to make things easy for business people. Reason being that it's going to be indeed a game changer. We are known for business, and it makes great sense that we actually invest in that regard. Whatever we need to do. Despite the fact that we do have airports that are close by, seaport is totally different in terms of its ability to lessen the burden, the cost of and raising efficiency of in the logistics environment. So it is indeed advisable that we go ahead and end up with a good point.
All right, thank you very much for that response. And I will call Dr. Obi Nauzo at this point to choose a question from numbers 1 to 18 minus numbers 1, 4, 6.
Number 3, please.
Number 3. So number 3 is, what template do you have for tackling the growing insecurity in Anambra State if elected governor?
Thank you. Insecurity has underlying causes. So for us, we want to look at the underlying causes of the insecurity, particularly in Anambra State. We are very hardworking, resourceful people. So we have to ensure that we create the enabling environment for everybody to do very well in his or her sphere of life. In tackling insecurity, you have to get the youths involved, get employment for the youths, and this we do by giving them access to probably business. Those of them who want to get involved in small-scale enterprises, you get them to be trained properly and grant them scale acquisition equipment and facilities. And we also have to get across to the stakeholders in Anambra State, have discussions with them, and have provisions to enable us to procure sufficient equipment for all the necessary security agencies. We also have to provide for training for these security agencies. We also have to incorporate our traditional rulers, the community leaders, the president generals of various town unions in ensuring that they look out for possibilities of infraction in any part of their domain. So we need to cooperate and work in synergy with the stakeholders in Anambra State. And if we can provide infrastructures to enable our people, infrastructure for great environment, if we can also provide training and also equipment and facilities for those in charge, for equipment and things we need. We mean things like vehicles or other necessary gadgets needed to ensure that there is adequate security in the land. But it's very important to engage particularly our youth in very meaningful entrepreneurship skills, and also ensure that there are schools. The schools they are sent to schools. They are provided for training in all their areas of interest. So we intend to do take a holistic approach, incorporating and working together with various stakeholders to ensure that adequate security is provided for our people in Anambra State, because with security, with enabling environment, with the necessary assistance to all our people, we will be able to get the best from our people, and there will be progress, prosperity, peace, unity, and great development in our great state, Anambra State.
Thank you very much for that response. I think I'm glad to see that Colonel Architect Jeff is back. So I'm going to ask you this. So we have questions lined up from numbers 1 to 18, and we are at around when candidates are now picking any number that they'd like, and then we'll ask the question associated to that number. So between 1 to 18, minus question number 1 has been taken, number 3 has been taken, number 4 has been taken, number 6 has been taken. So would you choose, any number from 1 to 18, and then minus this 4 or 5 that I've mentioned, and I will ask you the question associated to that number.
Let me very quickly, gladly go to question number 8, the last bus stop. 18, the last bus stop.
Okay, I'll give you 18. And number 18 is, what are your views on political godfatherism? What has been the negative impact of godfatherism in Anambra politics?
My views are that godfatherism emanates from when a candidate is not having all that it takes to lead and requires to get those deficiencies from those who will provide them for them. You may want to ask me, what are the likely deficiencies? First is money. Second is when you have not the right connections that are required in leadership. But let's just concentrate on the issue of not having the funding. Well, I would say there's no one person that will have enough funds to prosecute political office. Even outside this claim, you will need support. I remember that even Obama at the peak of his time was taking donations as low as $5, $10, $20. I wish there will be a time such will come to be in our system here. Today, I was just talking with my woman. I was like, they said, it's true, you are our brother and you are running for governor. You have to give us money to, vote, because others will be giving us money. If you don't give us, how do we vote? How do we not now say we will not take money from others? You now discover that a candidate is very dangerously exposed to requiring funding of his campaign. And when he now had to go and get that assistance from some people you call the governors, if he does not hold his own, he might now be holding to them. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's insightful. At this point, I would like to call for this round. This will be last take for the round. Dr. Onyejebu.
Yes.
Is he here? Dr. Onyejebu.
I am having problem with my battery. Can you please just allow me hook up to mains?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead. We'll lose you for a moment, and then when you come, you join us from where we are. Dr. Okay. Dr. Onyejebu, please.
I'm the one.
So Dr. Oh, sorry, I just. I'm sorry. Okay, good night. You have actually made your contribution. I was getting that meeting. All right, so that brings us to the end of that round, where we have had our candidates choose from a list of questions that we had to address specific aspects of the issues confronting our state at this time, Anambra State. And at this point, I would yield to my colleague, Dr. Ikechukwu, to take us to the next round.
Thank you very much. So just as in the last round, we shall have all the candidates also each choosing a question from numbers 1 to 18, excluding question number 1, number 3, number 4, number 6, and number 18. From the rest, we'll begin also with the Chief Chair, but kindly choose a question, beginning with number 2.
Okay, I believe I'm with 3, so let me take.
Sorry, hold on. Hold on, yes.
Yes, so Dr. Ikechukwu, I was saying that we have about 20 minutes left on our time, and so.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, Marcel confirmed that he had been moved up beyond 2 hours. Marcel, kindly indicate whether that is still true, Dr. Mbamalo.
Sorry, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We have 4 hours actually.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We have 4 hours. So I think we'll spend, this is
9,
so spend
2 hours, less than 2 hours actually.
2 hours, we'll spend 2 hours, 40 minutes.
We started.
Oh, 1 hour, 1 hour 40
No,
minutes.
1 hour 40 minutes actually.
Oh yeah, yes, sorry.
We haven't even done 2 hours, yeah.
Yes, sorry. We spent 1 hour 40
It
minutes.
was based on your, okay, apparently our colleague wasn't updated. It was based on the update of time that I then thought we should take the 3-rounder. So we still have 1 more time, but we don't need to spend 4 hours here.
Yes, definitely
if we
not.
take the first round of questions, which will probably take 20 minutes or less, then we take we'll just take 1 more round of questions, and then we will move on to concluding engagements. So yes, we'll begin again with Chief Etiaba. You were about to choose.
I chose number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
What do you consider the most pressing problem of Anambra youths today? And how do you intend to address these problems?
Okay, the most pressing problem is unemployment. And we tend to tackle it head on. And I did say all through the course of my campaign over the last 2.5 years that even in government, that I will partner with the youth to deliver the new Anambra that we all seek. I'll partner with the youth 50-50. Incidentally, my campaign is the only major campaign with the youth as our DG. My DG is 39 years old and he's doing very, very well. All of what you see me do in this campaign are powered by the youth of Anambra State. And even the campaign funds, you were talking about godfathers. I don't have a godfather, a political godfather. The campaign funding are mostly donations from the youth, because I've always spent my time in all 14 years since I've been back to Nigeria, mentoring the youth in the Southeast. What will I do for them? Create jobs and mentor them and showcase leadership. Because the reason why our youth are resting, precisely because we don't have leaders who are leaders. What we have, basically what I call political businessmen in leadership positions. So if Ben Etiaba is lucky to be elected governor, and an Action Alliance government will showcase leadership, lead by example, have a governor that will be honest with himself, honest with the youth, and walk his talk. And the body language alone of the governor will do a lot. But in unemployment, we're going to tackle it a number of ways. Number one, we'll create an enabling environment, like I said earlier, for the private sector to thrive, to hire people. That's one. We're going to use agriculture to curb unemployment. In the 60s, M.I. Abara used agriculture to industrialize the Eastern region. We used it to feed ourselves, and we used it to create jobs and then to earn. So we're going to do that. In today's world, a governor with a great worldview that I represent, with every sense of modesty, should be able to. Anambra State has 98% arable land. So, but we just let it waste because we're so lazy collecting allocations and borrowing to fund budget deficits. Now we're not thinking of creating jobs and creating wealth. So we use agriculture to employ our people, mechanize agriculture, not going into farms with machetes and hoes. Okay, we're going to use sports to develop Anambra State. Ben Etiaba will be probably the first sports person elected governor of Anambra State if Action Alliance wins on Saturday. I've been a past captain of golf, former goalkeeper in my college days, two-time volleyball captain of 2 schools. I play lawn tennis, I play table tennis. I know the value of sports. We're going to have 21 centers of sporting excellence in Anambra State. That will keep our kids off the streets. It will keep them employed. And we will also earn money for the state and for them, for their families, when we groom the best ones and get value when we transfer them abroad. Okay, there's so many things we can do to engage our youth, but the main thing is to create jobs, and we intend to do that and to showcase leadership. That will give them hope that tomorrow will be better than today, and then all this restiveness will begin to die down, and they can contribute. These things are not only going to be based on giving jobs. We will also train them on vocational studies so that they can be self-employed. In my family, virtually every member of my family is self-employed. So we know the value of self-employment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we know you were once a footballer, so if we're setting up a team, we'll contact you. Bruce Etiona will be the captain in the middle of the field. Thank you very much. So we call on the next person, who is Dr. Onyejebu, following that original order, to choose a question. Numbers 4, 3, 1 to 4, and 6 and 18 are taken, so he can pick from any of the remainders, beginning with number 5. Hello? Are you still on, Dr. Onyejebu?
Oh, okay. I am here. I didn't call on me.
Yes, yes. Please, I'll repeat the question, the information. Yes. Questions numbers 1 to 4 are taken. Number 6 is also taken, and number 18 is taken. So number 5 and the rest are not taken.
I now go with number 10.
Number 10. Very well. I'll read it out. The IPOB is taking advantage of the gap between the people and their leaders in the Southeast to present an alternative narrative on Igbo emancipation. How do you suppose the Igbo can build bridges to remedy this challenge? I'll repeat. The IPOB is taking advantage of the gap between the people and their leaders in the Southeast to present an alternative narrative on Igbo emancipation. How do you suppose the Igbo can build bridges to remedy this challenge?
Very, very simple. We have built these bridges before now. The conversation on this issue is very straightforward. Ndi Igbo, as a diaspora people, are the only two Nigerians that have been building other communities across the Federation. So if it is the issue of building bridges, we did it before even the Civil War. We continued after the Civil War. Every community in Nigeria, once you remove the indigent, that's the indigents, the next most populous group are the Igbos, all over the Federation. So we will only but sustain what we have been doing because we haven't been doing anything wrong. We will ask, especially in 2023, that what has been done for the Southwest to produce the president in 1999, Warehead Hotel, they get it, should be done for Ndi Igbo. What has been done for that the power must go for the North at all costs. This present time must be done for Ndi Igbo. What was done for the Niger Delta people when the kidnapping and banditry was so much in Niger Delta, for Jonathan to emerge, should be done for Ndi Igbo. So I think that the conversation this country ought to be on now is Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now we shall move on to Dr. Valentine Ozigbo. After that, we take Dr. Obi Nozo and bring this section of the engagement to a close. Very quickly, Dr. Obi Nozo, Dr. Val Ozigbo.
He has a message. He has a message. He has a message on the chat. And then it says, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but internet connectivity along the way hasn't allowed opportunity to be part of this. My regrets, I will do the needful to improve on network connectivity after next week, Saturday, by God's grace. God bless you.
Very well. So we move on to who now? Dr. Obi Nozo.
I think you're meeting me.
Who?
You are meeting me, myself.
Yeah,
Dr.
Chido.
Yeah.
Huh?
Number 5. I choose number 5.
Yes, please. Sorry, so sorry. Yes, please. So which question would you take?
I choose number 5.
Number 5, okay. The question goes, what does your town and the people around you have to show for all your years in national and state politics in the last 20 years?
Okay. In my village, I've been running a foundation for 34 years. My foundation for 34 years has built the Roman Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the Pentecostal Church, and has offered succor to tens of thousands of indigent families, not only from my village, from the whole 21 local government. My foundation has been the most effectively run foundation in the entire 21 local government of Anambra State for 34 years. In 2013, I sent the head of my foundation, Dr. Victoria Ezekoli, the former director of NTA, to take inventory for me to see the impacts this foundation has actually had in people's life. And the testimonies are mind-blowing. A woman that was driven away by the husband came to my foundation and was given the capital. And he said, when the husband drove her away, she lived in an uncompleted building and people thought she was mad. And today she owns 3 shops in the Columbia and lives in a comfortable flat. And people now know she's not mad. A woman said that she got capital from Kingdom Care Foundation. This foundation, and she has given other 50 women capital from her own income. And a young man said he got money from my foundation, bought the first motorcycle, got another funding. Today he owns a transport company. My foundation has, just last 1 week, I was at Umoji to attend Adide ceremony, dancing group. And the woman actually selling cosmetics there said that the capital for that her business was given to her in Kingdom Care Foundation. And her motto was, if I help you, help others. So this foundation has affected life for 34 years and has sent thousands of people to school, has we have organized vocational studies in different spheres and supported the beneficiaries with capital takeoff grants. So this foundation has affected life for the past 34 years because most colleagues of mine start their own foundation 1 year before seeking for elective post. But I started mine for 34 years and has, actually affected lives in thousands for that 34 years.
Thank you very much, sir. Very concise response. Okay, we now come to Dr. Binuzo. Questions numbers 1 to 6 are taken and number 18 is taken and number 10 is taken. So beginning with question number 7, which one would you want us to ask you?
Number 17.
Number 7. How will you galvanize?
17, number 17.
Oh, 17, very well.
Yes.
What value do you expect to add to grassroots leadership as governor of Anambra State?
Thank you. Grassroots is something we've been involved for decades. We have touched lives, affected people. But more importantly, I'm a grassrooter. I started school in my village, Umuname Primary School, went to a boys' secondary school in Ehiala, taught briefly at Girls' Secondary School, Okeja. And I was also helping our business in my village, Umuname, Newi, Onitsha, before I went to Lagos to grow the business. So for grassroots, it's very important that we do the needful to harness the potentials of our people. There are vast potentials in our people, and they can be harnessed particularly from the grassroots. I've assisted a lot of people in their various fairs like football, swimming, lawn tennis, music, those into Nollywood. These are things we have to find out from our kids, from our people, their talents. So we have to groom talents. We also have to groom others who have the skill to get into business or into other spheres, into other things. A whole lot of things that we can do from grassroots, particularly working with the traditional rulers, the community leaders, the youths, the women, because the women do a lot of things for us. We tend to ignore the values, the valuable contribution of women. They groom, they train, they do a lot of things for us. And we have to incorporate the women, the youth, the elderly into whatever we are doing to ensure that we groom our people from the grassroots and also establish a lot of things like agriculture, other necessary things that can help these youths, people at the grassroots level to get involved in what we are doing, and then also to decentralize what's happening at the urban areas, provide infrastructures and all that to these people so they can be part of what we are doing. So by the grace of God, I emerge as the governor of Anambra State, we are going to ensure that a lot of things are started from the grassroots, and people are going from the grassroots to make progress to the other areas, to also decongest the urban areas.
Thank you. Thank
yes,
you.
I have to thank you, and I don't know if I can seek permission to attend for a quick meeting with the people who have been waiting for me for about 2 hours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your comments and for your involvement, and all the best to all the candidates.
Thank you.
As we're winding down, I'd like us to, because in the original rules of engagement stated, each candidate will have an exit statement of about 2 minutes after the comments and questions. But you may recall that Chief Waziri raised wanted to speak at some point, and perhaps we can take him at the moment. He's still on board. But I have some concern because there are 3 names, 3 Wazirikis, and it will appear to have an epidemic of God Waziriki on the platform. If Waziriki is still around, the respected leader, we might.
I'm around. I'm around.
Okay, very well.
What you know very well from
Hello. Hello, sir. It appears you have a challenge with your network. My appeal is
my video is not on.
So yes, you can hear your voice now. Kindly keep it within 90 seconds.
All right. I want to say thank you for the way you're handling this thing. I also want to say thank you for all the candidates that showed up today. That is a sign of seriousness. I know that the one has just arrived now. He has not spoken, but he's there. So let me just say this: governance is a serious issue. Anambra State is only slightly bigger than Lagos. Every inch of Anambra is a business area. Any governor serious about governing Anambra must go around. We're talking of aggressiveness. We must handle it. The average Anambra youth does not take nonsense, and patience is very short. You must plan for them. Education is important, so also is post-education career. That is my submission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. And as we're winding up, remember our initial observations. But you know, you have a... Okay.
Yes, I wanted to point out that we do have some people from the audience who have posed some questions. And I think
yes, indeed.
Gathering questions, quite a number of questions. Dr. Dina, we understand that they could leave at some point. But we would not like to disrespect the participants and the audience who have joined us from different parts of the world to be present this evening. And I think we would like to honor them by taking some of the questions. There are quite a number of questions that we can't take for the evening. We can take just a few, maybe about 3 questions, and then we can have the closing remarks by our very distinguished candidates. So, Dr. Ikechu, are you with me?
Oh, yes, I'm here, yeah.
Okay, so it turns out that the first question here is for Ben Etiara, and the question is, what are the issues bedeviling the Igbo? This has been asked by one of the audience members across our multiple platforms. We're also on YouTube, on Facebook. So I am not sure where this is coming from. It's not just at this point, I want to emphasize that the numbers that we see here, the people present on the platform, on the Zoom platform, are only a fraction of the number of people who have joined from different apps, including Facebook. So we have this question from Anambra Daniel. This question is for Danity about what are the issues bedeviling the Igbo? And I think you just have 1 minute. At this point, it's for you to just highlight. I'm not expecting that you're going to give a detailed answer to this question, which can take, more than 2 hours or more to discuss. So if you could take about a minute.
I think the straightforward answer to that is that the major problem we face today in the Southeast is insecurity. And then, of course, we have the major problem that we are noticing by the uprising that I would say of IPOB. And these are issues that are so evident that you don't need to be an Einstein to work out that if we can deal with the issue of security and be able to assuage and solve some of the problems leading to these agitations, that we'll have a safer climate, a safer region to operate out of. And we need to do this to be able to get our politics right, to be able to get our economy right, to be able to get virtually everything in Igbo land right. So I think we need in Anambra a governor who understands this basic issue and who is prepared to confront it head on by providing solutions to these problems. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And then this is an open question. Any of the candidates can take it. It's from an anonymous attendee. And the question is, why do every governors keep marginalizing civil servants through poor salaries, delays in promotions, and non-payment of promotion arrears, if eventually given a promotion at all? What do the intending governors have in plan for addressing these cruel treatments? Any other candidates can take the
Yes, I can answer that. Yes.
And then you have 1 minute, please.
Yes. The issue with our past governors is that they are depending so much on revenue coming from Abuja, and that revenue has not been barely enough to meet all needs. We need a governor who can create jobs, who can develop, who can create businesses and run the state as a business entity that is not only going to be spending, but also be a state where the government will also create avenues to make money without tasking the people so much. So we need a governor who can create wealth and turn the state into a viable entity that can be able to sustain itself without depending on the monies that come from Abuja. And that is what I offer as a businessman, managing, ability to manage the resources profitably. Because if you don't make profit in your business, you cannot sustain. Like I have 5 factories with over 5,000 workers. If I don't make profit, there's no way I can sustain these 5,000 workers. So we need a governor who has, he cannot give what you don't have, who has that experience, who will bring to the table that managerial ability to entrepreneurship, to be able to create wealth for the state so that the state will be wealthy enough to be able to pay good salaries and sustain their workforce. That is.
Okay. Thank you. And then I'll take this small question and then that'll be it for that round. There are some questions for YouTube, but unfortunately we can't get through to that because some of our candidates are already itching to. Oh, Architect Jeff, okay, can you take 1 minute then? And I will just bring up this question about women. Somebody has asked a question about women, and I think it's very important that we do address that. Yes, please go ahead, Architect Jeff. 1 minute, please.
I wanted to weigh in on the issue of marginalization of civil servants.
Yes, please go ahead. 1 minute.
Yes, the truth of the matter is that we have so much redundancy in civil service. I plan to have what I call smart government, where the civil service will be run on profit target lines, run as a business. And that way, the civil servant will get a pay check that will take him home and sustain him home for 30 days. There will not be any marginalization. There will be progressive promotions because there are targets to be made. There are profits to be made at the end of the day. I think I'm done with that. Smart government. And that is what the APM, Allied People Movement, is all about.
All right, thank you very much. We still have lots of questions, but I'll take this one about women. And any of the candidates.
Let me just, hello?
Hello?
Well, I've been battling with my internet, but I think I have some window, yeah?
Your camera is flipped. You're actually, you know,
you're standing on your head almost. Okay, better.
Is it better now?
Yeah, you're now properly aligned.
Sorry.
Yes, so go ahead.
Okay, well, just to thank all of you, I'm sorry I got messed up by the internet cover over my town. And that's why one of the things I promised Anambra State is an effective blanket cover, internet, effective. On the topic you have, the problem in Anambra State is not talent, it's not resources. The problem is control of government. We don't have institutions. So as governor, the first thing I would do is to establish an executive that respects the rule of law. Then get the legislator to be financially independent, the judiciary independent, the civil service professional and autonomous, and then the people able to recall and question government by making sure that the Ministry of Women Affairs is established so that we can have access to the will of the people. These 4 units, once put into place, will transform Anambra State. Once we have responsible government, we have this runaway horse that's just all over the place. Individuals, strong personalities, maybe good intention, but right now out of control. So we need to have government. We don't have government. I will submit myself for us to have government. That is the problem Anambra State has. No government. Let's have a government that we can question. A governor that is not an overlord. A House of Assembly that every member in the House of Assembly put there by the people through social contracts developed before the election, so that people can come in and be recalled when they misbehave. Commissioners, not commissioners that are copies of the governor, put together from the various constituencies, nominated by the people, responsible to the people.
Thank you.
So I think that
explicit and to the point.
Thank you very much. And I think you brought up, quite a number of points within that. And I'm glad that we're able to have you as part of the speakers from the lineup of candidates. So this question is one of those that are really hard to do. And any of the candidates can answer the question. It is, tell us some of your major contributions to women affairs, women empowerment, and the protection of womanhood in the last 20 years, and how you would cater for the interest of the women in Anambra State. Any other candidates?
Can I go ahead with that?
Do I take that before my internet flips?
Go ahead, go ahead. I'll be fair. I'll be fair to you.
You seem to quickly want to make up for all the loss.
Everything.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah,
1 minute. 1
1
minute.
minute.
Okay, look. I think
this question should go to those who have women deputies, because they have already started showing the place of women in their government.
It does not follow.
Well,
You get a chance to talk
It does
about
not
that.
follow. Let everyone
Okay.
give his view on that.
The greatest challenge of womanhood, in our community today is the maternity sector. Primary health care, making sure that women do not die when they go to deliver babies, making sure that women in the families have sufficient support to be able to nurse up the family. My contribution to that is that when in the presidency, I was responsible for the shopping. And I found out that the mortality rate of young kids and the suffering of women in the families was unbelievable. So I pushed the shopping program to revisit the entire primary health sector in order to restore maternity and the child care program of Nigeria.
Sir,
I was able.
You may wish to round up now, please, sir.
Okay, so my greatest contribution in those years is to bring back the care for women in the family.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And then Architect Jeff, go ahead. No, what it was a Dr. Jeff, but I wanted to speak next. Yes, please.
Okay. What I'll say is that I've been campaigning for 2.5 years. And in all those months, I've promised the women of Anambra State that if I'm elected governor, I will run, I'll share government with them. Because it just doesn't make any sense that the son of the first and only female governor in Nigeria runs, for instance, in the ticket, a male ticket. So my deputy is a woman. And I've always been all through my life an equal opportunity employer. I don't see gender. But despite the fact that I don't see gender, I go out of my way to ensure that there is some sort of affirmative action anywhere I have been, so that women are accommodated. Because sometimes you say you don't want, you don't run, you don't see gender, and then women are being discriminated because you're not actually paying attention to that sector. So what I will say to the women of Anambra State is that I've already started by having the #2 citizen of Anambra State if we're elected as a woman. And believe me, she's the politician in the team. She knows politics better than I do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then we'll have Architect Jeff then, and then we'll take Dr. Chido, and we'll be done with this round. Yes, go ahead, Architect Jeff.
Now, yes,
You have 1 minute.
wanted to bring out the position of women in Anambra. Given the population of 51% of women to 49% of men, and then given the fact that they are more educated now, because as the boys system, Igbo, had taken away most of the youthful male children into businesses early in life, left with the females that go to school. I will run a government that will have to, even if more than 50% in every appointment that I make, I don't mind. All I want is to achieve results, and they might go to women. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And then I will take Dr. Chido, and then we'll wrap up this this section, and we'll now take the closing statement.
Yes, if you look at my campaign, my deputy is a woman. And also in my company, Wishtech Group, we have 220 offices. And we have observed that most offices managed by women have been more productive. In my factories, one of my most successful factories, the operation manager is a woman. So women are very strict in management. They go by the rules. They are always going by, you have to dot every I. In every management segment, they are going by the rules. Men overlook a lot. And that actually makes women very special. So they're, result-oriented. Most of them had always, in my own outfits, I value women a lot because, in fact, they are the pillars that are actually helped Wishtech to be where they are today. So in governance, I will make sure that women also take very prominent roles to be able to make sure we have effective running government. So women, women it cannot be emphasized the qualities of women in managing any entity. So women, I will encourage women to be part of my government, and I'll make sure that that to the best of my ability, that we make sure that women are not marginalized.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So at this point, I just wanted to note again that we have so many questions from YouTube and Facebook from the teaming participants from those platforms. And we apologize that we're unable to take all of those questions, including one so controversial that I would have loved us to do. And then there's yet another one on children, but our evening is fast spent. And then we apologize to listeners and the audience that we're unable to take all of your great questions. And I think the conversation spills over after today, you know, even in the streets of Oka, as, you know, you begin to digest what's been said towards the election. I will yield now to my colleague, you know, to take on the closing part of the closing statements from the candidates. Over to you, Dr.
Sorry,
Ikechukwu.
can I talk about
Okay, thank you. No, sorry, thank you very much.
Dr. Ikechukwu.
Sorry,
Yes.
please. Even from your comment about your philanthropic activities, we can draw very elaborate inferences. So kindly, I plead. I'm apologizing like my colleague. Please bear with us. There are other platforms, and we'll be monitoring your campaign too and your activities over the years. Having said that, I'd like to put a few things on the table before we round up. Number one, that Prime Business, the organizers of this event, is an independent platform that stepped forward to deal with this simply because of its concern for good governance and its commitment to a better society. And I thought I should put that on the table. Having said that, you may recall that we read our rules of engagement, and the purpose of reading it out was for candidates to determine, to see that we're being objective. I'll run them all over again now, because it then gives you the opportunity to confirm by way of feedback that indeed that's how we operated. We say that each participant shall speak for 5 minutes, opening statement, we make sure that happened. That each candidate shall subsequently answer one question arising from his introductory remarks, that's what happened. We say that the moderator and the co-moderator shall alternate in asking questions so that nobody will assume that there were already pre-planned arrangements between the organizers, the moderators, and the candidates, and we faithfully demonstrated that. We also say that each candidate shall answer a total of a question each from a pool of 18 questions, but we moved it to 2 each because there was enough time to accommodate more questions. Thereafter, we also said they would take questions arising from their comment. The other rule of engagement, number 6, was that time permitting and with the general agreement of the candidates, we shall take some questions, not from the audience, and we did that. And if no candidate objected, if they did, we would have had to discuss it. Now we are at the last point where we agree that each candidate shall take 2 minutes to make a closing statement. That's what's going to happen now. Immediately after that, we'll take also a 2-minute closing statement from my colleague. Then I'll also make my own closing statement. So please, beginning with the first, let's have your closing statements keeping within or below 2 minutes.
Please mute Wazirike. Please mute Wazirike immediately.
So we begin with Chief Etiaba. 2 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Less closing comments.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to have been on this platform this evening. And I want to end by saying thank you to my colleagues on the platform, the candidates, my friends, and Zakachukwu, Colonel Jeff, Dr. Chidozie, Dr. Binna Uzo, Val, who has since gone. I hope I haven't missed out on anyone. Having said that out of courtesy, I want to say this. I'm running for the office of governor, not because I believe I'm better than any of these guys I've mentioned, or anyone else who is not here tonight.
Success.
But precisely because I believe Anambra needs to move in a different direction, and I believe that I offer that difference. I want to take Anambra State from where we are to where we ought to be, not where we want to be, where we ought to be, out of darkness and into light. And I just want to end my speech tonight by quoting St. Francis of Assisi, that all the darkness in the world can never extinguish the light of a single candle. Anambra is the light of the nation, and I most humbly offer myself as that candle. Thank you so much. I hope you vote for Action Alliance on Saturday, and that will be the second party on the ballot, starting from the top. Thank you, and thank you to my colleagues.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief Chief Etiaba. So we'll move on very quickly to Colonel Onyejebu, Dr. Onyejebu. Maximum of 2 minutes, preferably less, for your closing observations.
Thank you very much. Anambra, we are before you now as candidates to employment. Please, as our employer, on 6th November, look out for the man with unique skill sets. I am a team player. I am not going to leave out all these my colleagues, the wonderful people who have been going around campaigning through the state. I see possible finance commissioners among those of them who are chartered accountants. I see possible trade and investment, commerce gurus, who commissioner. We are going to work as a team. We are APM. We said Anambra security first. That is the mantra, and that is what is in our manifesto. We will secure the state. We have the experience, the training, the background, the discipline to secure your state so that investment can thrive. We are number 8 in the ballot. APM, Allied People's Movement.
Thank you very much.
Vote for APM in the Anambra so that our state will be secured. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we now have Dr. Obi Nozo. And sir, I will encourage you to also very quickly include
you're not going by the rules
about women. Oh, why am I?
You're not going by the rules.
Okay, the challenge, let me explain, is that the flyer set I have is the other arrangement. So, and all the faces are not there. Please, my sincere apologies. No offense intended. Have your 2 minutes before we move to dinner.
Okay, I want to appreciate the organizers of this meeting. I want to thank my colleagues for the friendly manner, at which we have, answered our questions. I want to also thank the viewers, and I want to plead with all the viewers to vote AAC on Saturday, because I believe that among all these candidates, I have employed more Anambrans all over Nigeria. I've affected more lives. And my closing remark is to reference Warren Buffett, who said in hiring a manager, you should consider qualification, experience, integrity. Most importantly, if number 3 is missing, forget the former 2. I'm offering integrity capital into governance, and that is what is lacking, and that is what has got us to where we are today. So I am pleading with Anambrans to consider people that has been proven in their different fields, because no one can give what he has, what he does not have. And my promise is that I'm going to manage Anambra to become the Japan of Africa. That Anambra will be what I'm going to do in Anambra will be remembered in 100 years. I'm going to reshape the economy of Anambra State and make it to be an economy that will not be dependent on federal government allocations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So now I'll call on. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'll now call on Dr. Obi Nozo. Then we'll take Nzaka Chukwu. And so Dr. Obi Nozo, please kindly remember to slot in, even if it's for 20, 30 seconds, your thoughts on women, because that's a critical success factor for any state that wants to take itself seriously. Mothers are women. A lot of things that support our life come from the women, but in most instances, they're not. If you like, they do not seem to be getting their due. So you might want to include the observations on that within the 2 minutes allotted to you now.
Thank you, Doc. You've said it rightly. My views is that they are talking about employing women. women, what they do for us in our life is huge. And we need to appreciate it, employed, not employed. It's a woman who works for 24 hours without pay. She's in charge of the house, the family, the food in the house, the school run, taking care of the husbands and everybody. So we have to appreciate women in all that we do and give them their due respect and views. In closing up, I want to thank particularly the organizers, the moderators, and worthy viewers for being with us. And I want to please plead with Anambra people, let's go for a great leader, a good man, a person with a good heart. Obinuzo Foundation is named for many years, for over 40 years. And we need somebody who has established, people have gone through Obinuzo Madonna University over 20 years and all that. So please vote for a man that is credible, competent, capable, and who has all it takes to take Anambra to the great heights.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anna.
The horse, the white horse, on Saturday, November 6th, so that Anambra can be secured, can make progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll now call on my colleague to make some very quick remarks so that we wind down for the evening.
All right.
So what of Aka Chukuna?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Sorry, please go ahead. You see, it's your fault that we are forgetting you. You came in after immigration had closed clearance. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first to thank all of you, thank my wonderful colleagues, and to say to you, I come to you with 15 years of public service without corruption, without controversies. This election is not about the tall individuals, it's about Anambra State. And it is time for everybody to come on board. And to achieve that, I'm offering Anambra State a governor that will submit to control. We will establish the Ministry of Women Affairs that will make sure that every woman has a seat, a voice, and a share in the government of Anambra State. And we come with the motto families first, because women are the threshold of families. And once we begin to respect and build our state around families, we will have progress. So for me, I submit myself to control so that you can choose, you can govern your state. It's time to let go of men who promise the I approach and deal with the we approach.
Thank you very much.
Let Anambra State be great again.
Thank you very much. Now, my colleague.
All right, thank you very much. At this point, I would like to thank Prime Business and Dr. Marcel Mbamalo for being the spirit behind this. It takes a lot of guts to begin to look at ways in which, as media practitioners and as professionals, that we can contribute in our own ways towards the political process. And it also takes a lot of nobility on the part of politicians or people who are aspiring to govern the state to take seriously these invitations. This has been a combination of these efforts and the wisdom. And the candidates today have demonstrated respect for the citizens of Anambra State and also for other professionals, and the cordiality with which they have conducted the conversations they have been striking, because we can see that they take this whole business seriously. Governing requires taking charge of the destiny of people. Sometimes leaders do not take that kind of responsibility with the kind of sacredness and sanctity that is actually associated with it. It is not something that one would do from the wind. And we are very delighted, and I feel honored together with my colleague, Dr. K.K. Chukwu, himself a very distinguished professional who has had very close associations with leadership. And then, to see how this evening has come together. this would have been a monologue if we didn't have participants from across multiple digital platforms, from Facebook, YouTube, and others, Tumblr, and then so on and so forth, where we actually have the greater number of people participating. And so without them, we'll just be speaking to ourselves, and it would be like people who have locked themselves in one small digital space and talking. And more importantly, I want to thank the technical crew behind this, those names that we do not see and the faces that we'll not see in this, but that have played very critical role in getting this going. The young people, the young men and women in the technical crew that are also part of the Prime Business enterprise. I want to thank you for facilitating this. And then on the whole, I think it's the people of Anambra State that will be winners when we have a peaceful election where one of these very distinguished and eminent citizens of the state and others who may not be here are able to actually keep their word and provide very distinctive leadership, which our country needs very badly at this point. I'd like to say that from my home here in Ottawa, Canada, I'm excited at the possibilities of the digital media to reach worldwide, and hope that by the time these videos are also mounted and properly edited, we'll have even more mileage. And this conversation that we've had here that looks like a small group of people within a limited space and time will continue to echo throughout time in the digital spheres in the world. It is indeed my honor to have been part of this process. Thank you for making it possible, and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those kind words. Definitely sincere words from a good man. And I will only try to conclude by saying that, yes, we thank first of all our brother, Dr. Marcel Ember, the driver of Prime Business and the driver of a team. He took the three, himself and his vision, that's number one. The business is set up and the competent hands he put together. What does he stand to gain by this? You know, they say it takes a good man to change society. I don't quite agree. It takes a good man with ability and courage. Marcel demonstrated both ability and courage. And that's why when he contacted some of us and was talking about his own rules of engagement, I said, I don't recognize your rules. I can't be paid for this sort of thing. We have a business, the business of supporting you, and that's what I'll step forward to do. And truly, I praise him for this initiative. And I urge us, seeing the way this has run, that's how what he does is always done. Transparently, competently, with decency and dignity. Please, should you have a need, look for him. He will not let you down. That's number one. Number two, I am particularly also proud of the candidates. Look at them. Everyone conducted himself with exemplary dignity, spoke clearly, kept to the issues. And certainly not on a platform organized by Dr. Mbamadu. So this shows us what it really should be like. So the question of attendance is immaterial because it's not a question of how many people did you meet on your dining table, but what's their pedigree, how did they behave? You know, so this is very good. And to my colleague and the fellow moderator, you see, it's also a credit to Prime Business, the type of people he chooses to do business with. You can see the urbane maturity, indicative of good exposure and grooming that has characterized the entire engagement this evening. So even if there's nothing else to be proud of in Anambra State, this evening is something to be proud of, about our people, the organizers, the participants. The losers are those. If people think it's only when you take part in a debate what you say. No, association. You may pick up the reflex of another candidate that you will learn, okay, I've gotten this. Even if I don't win the election, there's something that's improved in me because of this encounter. So on that note, I thank everybody for their frankness, for their objectivity, for the dignity with which they conducted themselves, and for the host for making this evening possible. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, viewers online, candidates, organizers, I believe we've had an evening worth remembering, and the outputs and content of which will be shared across all platforms, because as you know, it's a digital world we are dealing with today. Thank you very much, and that will bring the evening to a formal close. Good night.
Digital hand clap, digital applause for all of you.
Good night and God bless you.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you. Wonderful job, great moderators.
I will plead with you to